Good morning, everybody. Not Instagram, though. Just Facebook. We decided last week Facebook couldn't get involved. Only Instagram could because of a glitch we were having. So today we didn't do Instagram. We have to. We believe in balance. We believe in a healthy, balanced garden and a healthy, balanced order. I'm just kidding. The plugin isn't uploaded. We found out and there wasn't enough time to upload it. So we will get that fixed tomorrow and we will upload to Instagram for sure. So happy Monday morning, everybody. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody had a good Mother's Day. Anybody who was struggling, we're thinking of you too. Days like that can be tough on some people. They can be great on other people, but you're all encompassed, okay? So nothing but love for you all. Crazy busy day for me yesterday, my one day off. It was Harry's birthday. Little man turned 14. Happy birthday. It was Mother's Day, so the day Jenny became a mother, it was all entwined. My mom's birthday was Saturday, and then Mother's Day was crazy busy. And we also, and I want to give a huge shout out here to the Living Cardiovascular Institute. Brandy and I did a workshop with them. They reached out to us back in, I think it was March, to ask if we would be able to work with them. They want to promote, cardiovascular, healthy movement, healthy eating, sleeping, all of that good stuff. And gardening is a good catch-all for that. It's good for the mental health, which ties in with your cardiovascular system. The food you grow, normally it's healthy to eat, ties into cardiovascular. Exercising, digging, planting a tree, which we're going to talk about today, good for the cardiovascular. We got to do a workshop with them, and it was a blast. Little kids got to follow along. We did some planting, we did microgreens and herbs. We talked about what they are. So it was a lot of fun, and a huge shout out to these guys. One of the things I love about gardening is the exercise I get, is being outdoors, is getting to eat what I've grown. And two ends of the same coin. I love gardening with my family. I love doing it with Jenny. I love doing it with Harry. But I also like doing it alone. I like the solitude and having that quiet time. So no one size fits all. And it's not even one size fits all for a person. Maybe one day you want togetherness, the next day you want solitude. That's all good too, whatever works. So anyway, we did a webinar on trees as well on Saturday. That went over great. We had people asking questions from Vancouver. We refused to answer because be Calgary or get out of here. No, I'm kidding. We answered that question. Of course we did. We don't care where you tune in from. We'll answer your questions. I am desperate for friends. So please be my friend, is essentially what I'm saying. But no, we had a blast and we were talking about trees. So we thought we'd follow that along today and discuss trees. And, a lot of times people may think, wow, you guys spend an awful lot of time discussing trees. And maybe we do, but there's a good reason for that. And that's because trees are such an investment and they can be intimidating to people. They cost money. They take time to plant. They take effort to plant. Then you've got to look after them. And then they're going to be there year after year after year. You don't want to find out 10 years down the road, you put the wrong tree in the wrong spot, and now it's massive and your garden is tiny. So there are so many moving factors from having a long-term vision to an immediate outlay of time, energy, and expense that goes with a tree. So understanding that subject gives you the confidence and the knowledge to do it. So what is a tree? Easily answered, a tree is a perennial. And if you guys remember, perennial is simply a plant that comes back year after year. But when we discuss perennials in the garden, we're talking more herbaceous. We're talking echinaceas and bee balms and sedums. We're talking daylilies, clematis, ones like that. That is where we go when we talk perennials. When we talk trees, we know it's going to come back every year, but what it has is a woody stem. And all of the branches come off of that main elongated woody stem. And then those branches in turn support twigs, and the twigs in turn support leaves, needles, which are a leaf, flowers, and fruits. So a tree is a massive organism with a ton of moving parts. Then we go below ground, and let's see if I can get this guy out. Give him a gentle squish. And as always, I'm going to brace. If you're going to do a juniper, I suggest gloves. My hands are a little beat up for me to start wearing gloves now. So is it going to come out? You're going to come out. There we go. It's going to play nice. And as you can see, they have a very large, intricate root pattern. And you can see we have larger roots, and we've got all of the fibrous roots here. Now, this is the foundation. And one thing you may notice as well, when we look at a tree as compared to, say, an annual, when I lifted the annuals out of the pots, the flower might be this big and the root system is this big. Well, you look at this tree, okay, and that's where the roots are. And these roots are almost getting root bound. This guy wants to be in the ground. Those roots want to grow. So a tree has a massive root system. I'm going to put this back in its pot because we do have sunlight coming through, and I don't want the roots to get shocked. I only did that really, honestly, to make a mess. It'd be too long since I made a mess. So, you know, the purpose of a tree and the size of them and everything they entail, they end up being, you know, more than just aesthetic. And aesthetic is great. Aesthetic is it's as good a reason as any to get a plant because I like it. Okay, fantastic. But you can also get privacy. It also adds biodiversity, stabilizes the soil, helps mitigate floods, allows water retention. They encourage birds coming into their habitat. There is so many things going on with trees. You can get a tree, say you've got a pretty big property and the wind hammers it, okay? And then in the summer, the sun is just beating down on it. You put in a big spruce, okay? It's going to block that wind. It's going to take all of the wind in the winter. And then in the summer, it's going to cast shade. So it can actually help regulate your temperature in your house. That'll help you with heating bills. It'll help you with, you know, air conditioning bills, that kind of thing. So trees really are magnificent. And what ends up happening, you know, with the species, now this one doesn't bloom per se. It's a juniper. It's the first one I grabbed. But a lot of times you look at a crabapple or an apple tree, a pear tree, a hawthorn, one of the blooming trees, and they get masses of flowers. You know, some of these trees are 15, 20 feet tall and just covered. Who hasn't walked down the street and seen those incredible cherry blossoms in the spring? Well, we're noticing it. What do you think the bees and the other pollinators are doing? They see this and they're like, oh, heck yes. And they go straight to it. Well, it doesn't take a hive of bees, a colony of bees, by the time you get butterflies in, and then all the solitary bees and hummingbirds to, boom, pollinate that. Now they've got all the pollen out, and now you've got fruit developing and stuff like that. Well, then all of your flowers below it, all of your veggies, everything else, well, now they're going to go to that. Okay, so it's a great advert to get pollinators in your garden. It's great for the songbirds to come in. So there are a ton of reasons. And, you know, trees are literally phenomenal. Whenever we think of, you know, the biggest living species, my brain, anyway, immediately goes to dinosaurs and whales. I'm literally like a 6-year-old. What's your favorite dinosaur? Okay, fair answer. Mine is the Ankylosaurus. Okay, short little guy, well, short for a dinosaur. And he had spikes and he had a big club tail. And he's a herbivore. Yeah, Brandy's doing an impression of one over there. A lot of people like Tyrannosaurus. Alberta, the Albertosaurus. Come on. Anyway, we're not talking about dinosaurs. So clearly I could. But that's where our brains tend to go. We think big dinosaurs and whales. The biggest tree is alive today. It's a giant sequoia down in California. And I believe it's the length of 3.5 or 4 blue whales. That's how monstrous this thing is. Like 380 feet tall. Like mind-boggling. You know, Anybody who's ever been out to the island or out to BC, and you've seen some of those trees, it's humbling to be there. And then there's a tree, it's a pine tree, again, down in California. California got all the cool trees.
What is that?
Yeah, come on, California, share, maybe just the weather. I would take that. But they also have a pine tree, and this pine tree, or these pine trees, but there is a specific one, has been alive for 5,000 years. Okay, phenomenal, and it's not huge like you'd think. Very ridiculously slow growing. It'll enter dormancy for years and years, and then come back out and put out a tiny amount of growth, but it is still alive. So you've got trees that dwarf any other thing that's been alive on the planet, and you've got trees that are that old. And the carbon they capture, the oxygen they put out, it truly is essential. So, you know, trees are more than just a sum of their parts. And there's so much going on. Oxygen coming out, carbon dioxide going in, fruit happening, feeding pollinators, stabilizing your root, cooling your house, etc., etc. But they are just phenomenal organisms to understand. You know, I think every kid's enjoyed playing a tree, had a tire swing hanging out of a tree. You know, we had our favorite climbing tree when we were kids, and we would all climb it, and that tree was around for as long as I can remember, and it's probably still there. That was in England. I haven't checked in a while. But, you know, trees are outstanding. So, you know, tomorrow we're going to talk more about selecting trees and planting trees. And what you can do, because, you know, hopefully this has excited you and made you kind of think like, wow, there's more to a tree than I think. You know, we'll talk about the difference between a deciduous tree and a coniferous tree, why you might want one over the other. And again, it may fall down to, I just think this is prettier. I think this is prettier. Or I want something all winter, or I want apples. Again, no right or wrong answer. And maybe you get both. Okay, so we're going to explore everything trees for the rest of this week. Have a wonderful Monday. Weather wasn't great over the weekend. We got snow. Hey, spring. We're in a northern climate at an elevated altitude. We're going to expect a bit of snow. You know what? We still had a great day. Perfect excuse. Sit on the couch, binge eat a bag of chips, and watch Netflix. As if I need an excuse to do that. Have a great Monday, everybody. It's a fantastic day. A week full of opportunity ahead of us. Big smiles, nothing but love to you all. We'll talk soon. Look after each other. Stay safe. Bye, everyone.